Spoiler alert, we're unpacking the whole plot, twist by twist. If you're spoiler sensitive, hit pause and come back when your TBR list catches up. Cheers!
Welcome to the podcast where our reading habits are unhinged.
And so are we.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Miranda. And we're marginally unwell.
This week, we are tackling a doozy. Murder in the Family by Cara Hunter. Cara? I don't know. Sorry if I just butchered that. No pun intended. It's a twisty, true crime style mystery told through case files, scripts, and drama-packed family secrets. It's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and apologize in advance because there was a lot of information thrown at us in this book.
Yes. And the way that it read really threw me off. I was expecting it. I probably should have done a little bit more research. But I was like, oh, just another book.
Yes. So we both decided to listen to it and quickly found out
that was not the choice. Learn from us. Don't do it.
Maybe read it physically or e-reader. Because it did have a really unusual or unique what's the word I'm thinking of?
A writing style? I don't even want to say format.
Basically, premise of the book is it's a cold case file and they are trying to solve it, but they're solving it as a live TV show.
Yes, as a true crime TV show.
And so it's all written out. Part of it is written like a script. Like they have the fade in and out scenes from like the opening credits, things like that. And then
have montage scenes. Fade into montage.
Photos. Yeah. And it like explains the photos.
It's a fresh take on a murder mystery.
It is.
It's the first one I've read like this.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. And I think I would have enjoyed it so much more if I was physically reading it instead of listening. Because in the beginning it was a little bit difficult to keep track because it's just basically narrating all the things that are happening. Imagine if somebody was narrating, like, you had your eyes closed and they were telling you everything that was happening on the TV. That's what was happening. And it was true crime, which is already a lot of information to take in. So bear with us as we work through all this. But it was definitely interesting. It starts off, we meet some of the characters. They're getting ready to start this show.
Yes.
And we meet one of our main characters, Guy Howard, who is the stepson of Luke Ryder, who was murdered back in 2003. And I think the current time is 2023?
23. So yeah, it was a 20-year anniversary.
Oh, that's right. They said that, yeah.
That's why they're doing this whole thing. And he wanted to help solve the murder of his stepdad.
Yeah. He wanted answers, and so they basically brought in all these experts to film this docu-series.
2 retired detectives, a psychiatrist,
a
journalist, and
a lawyer.
Oh, yes, a lawyer, and then producers. And then, of course, they brought in the other members of Guy's family, so the family.
So anybody who was, like, related, things like that, they came in for interviews and stuff. But they put together this team, basically, to try to bring up this cold case and solve this murder, and they are making it into a true crime docuseries.
Yes.
So it was really interesting how they did that. Like Miranda said, it was definitely an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
It was based in London, which was cute. I loved all that.
Very cute. Yes. I also liked in audiophile that they had like 3 or 4 different voice actors.
Yeah, it was a lot. They
put in some production.
Yeah.
They put in some production.
Which
it wasn't a dramatized series, but it was almost like a duet, but with like 3 or 4 characters. I don't remember how many voices there were, but you can definitely distinguish the voices and the characters, which was very helpful, especially listening to it.
Which I think is interesting that they did have so many voice actors doing this one, because I feel like people, this could just be my own opinion, I feel like people would gravitate towards reading it like we're talking about. I feel like it is harder to follow. So I
Yeah.
think it's so interesting that they put so much effort into the audio.
Like, let's help them out. Let's give them something.
They are never going to be able to listen to this if we don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. So yeah, that was definitely interesting. But I love some good British accents.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was cute.
So they're doing this in episodes, and basically it's broken down by them filming the episode, and then so everything kind of leading up to it, and then the episode that airs. Which it's not live.
No, they're recording it live, but they do a post edit and then they release the episode.
Yeah, so it is an edited episode, but everything that's happening is happening live. So none of the
It's
people
like
involved.
reality TV version of true crime.
Yeah, so none of the people involved, like none of the experts that they brought in, they are not privy to all the information. So whenever something comes up or they find out information, they are hearing it for the first time throughout this. It's an edited show. So it's not live, but live reaction, maybe? I guess is the best way to explain it.
Live information given to them. It's the best way I can explain it, man.
And there you have it. So we first kind of start out getting, I feel like the interviews is what came first. So
Yes.
they interviewed a lot of the family. So Guy, the director, his mom married Luke Ryder, the guy who was murdered. And so they bring in for interviews. He does like a short little interview. And then his two sisters, Maura and Amelie. And then they also have a half-brother from her previous... Wait. Yeah. So their dad, who also died before... Here we go. So, okay. So before Luke is murdered, Caroline, Guy's mom, was married, had the children, Guy, Amelie, Maura, and that husband had Rupert. So that was their half-brother. But then he died.
Rupert died.
No, Rupert is the half-brother.
Rupert is the half-brother.
Rupert's dad / their dad, which makes them half-siblings, died. But Caroline, Guy's mom, was not Rupert's mom.
Okay.
Yeah. So then...
See?
So he dies, and we find out that Caroline meets Luke pretty quickly.
Yes, after.
And starts dating him. Or I guess starts dating him really quickly.
Yes. And it was a scandal. Because Luke Ryder is very young. I don't remember how old was Caroline? Like
She was
40s, right?
No, she was like 30, I think late 30s.
I thought it
And
was
he
40s.
was early 20s. I think he was like 23 or something. And so, yeah, we're talking
Chitter.
about, this younger guy, especially because they were a wealthy family. They had this whole estate, which everybody kept talking about. And I was like, how cute, little the London manor. I don't really know if it was a manor, but that's how I was picturing it. And so she was pretty well off from her previous husband.
Yeah.
And so they get together pretty quickly. And in fact, Luke was a friend of Rupert's.
Yes.
They met
in Australia, right?
I don't think they met. I thought they met once he came to London.
Okay.
Anyways, they met, they're friends. That's how he gets introduced to Caroline, and then they end up hooking up, which is crazy. Yeah, because that's his mom is his stepmom after his dad died. That's rough, bro. Imagine like your dad dies, and then your good friend is like, let me slide in here.
I can't. That friendship would be over.
And you're dead.
So you're not my friend. So you want my inheritance. What that's giving. Yeah, so obviously it's very twisty. There's a lot of family
happening. So I'm trying to explain it the best I can without getting too far off track. So I feel like I'm saying so much. They get together. It's this whole scandal. Whatever.
ends up being fine eventually, kind of.
Relatively. They're
Yeah.
okay. whatever. So Rupert gets interviewed, the two girls get interviewed, and I don't know who else at that point was really being interviewed.
I thought maybe the lawyer, because didn't he say some stuff on Caroline's behalf?
Yes, I think you're correct about that. Like about her statement from that night. Basically, they were all there to recant their statements from that night, which everybody was saying.
Basis starting off like as if it just happened.
So they were kind of recanting their initial interviews, and they all were claiming they didn't see anything that night. Caroline,
There was like some gala or ball or something. What was it?
yeah, I don't know. Caroline was at a party, which Luke was supposed to go to, but he canceled going last minute. The two girls were at the movie theater. Caroline had dropped them off. Guy was at home, but he was only like 10 at the time.
Yeah.
And so Luke had made him go to bed early, which was a whole ordeal because he missed the last bit of his program. So he was a little kid. So he was asleep because it happened in the night.
In the night.
And did they interview the nanny lady? Not the nanny, the like cleaning lady? Or did they just talk about her saying...
I think they just talked about her.
Because she had gone home early. I think she got sent home early because he was deciding to stay.
Luke ended up staying. Yeah.
So they didn't need the babysitter for Guy, and so she was not there either. So nobody saw anything.
The sisters were saying that, weren't they?
That she got sent home early.
Yeah, she got sent home early.
But you could be right. And nobody sees anything, and Luke ends up dead. The two girls come back from the movie, find him, and he is like in the backyard and
in the garden.
Yeah.
He's at the bottom of... They were saying that it was raining that night, and he was at the bottom of the stairs leading to the family garden. And they knew it wasn't an accident because he was... had a lot of blunt force trauma to the head.
Well, he did have the back of the head.
Yeah.
Which they think was from falling or being pushed potentially on the stairs heading. However, what actually ended up killing him was blunt force trauma to the front, the face.
And then they determined that the time of death was, what did they say? Was it between, I think it was 9:30 to 10:30.
Yeah, I think it was, they narrowed it down a little more than that, but it was essentially that hour.
It was that hour, and then part of that was because it was still, I think they said it was still dry underneath his body. That was discovered because the other ground was wet.
Yes, because it had rained, and it didn't start raining until like 10:20, they said.
Yeah.
And the girls came home from the movie theater at like 10:30, and they called 999, which was interesting.
Call 999.
That just really, tangent, made me think of that part in Hercules when the kid's like, somebody call IXII. And I die every time.
Wrong number.
They called 999 emergency services at like 10:47, I think it was. So they were able to narrow down a time frame of things happening pretty much within that like 9:30 to 10:30 hour, and then it had started raining, so that was another clue.
I think it was within like a 30-minute window.
They finally did kind of like narrow it down even more, but I don't remember the exact time.
It's a lot.
They didn't find any murder weapon though. There was not a lot happening as far as calls. There was only one call made to him from King Cross Station, and there really wasn't much to go on.
Yeah, everyone was out. Luke was, Guy was asleep. He's 10. Caroline was at the party. The girls were at the movie theater, and there wasn't any reportings of anybody near.
Nobody saw anything, and nobody was there, and everybody had an alibi basically.
Yeah.
So they had no leads to go off of. Except we find out that they're trying to come up with a motive. So who could have done this? Because we obviously know that it wasn't an accident. So who could have done this? And we find out that there was rumblings that Caroline was having an affair.
Yes.
So that's kind of where the first
Yeah, lover, a scorned lover or something.
Where the first, I guess, trail is leading them. They're thinking it's this mystery guy who they heard about, whatever. Maybe she was ending it with him and he was not happy, or we don't know. Or maybe Caroline, upset, confronts him. I don't know. So that's kind of the lane that they're going down. And from that point, we also start to learn some more about the different people.
I'm trying to remember which guy that thought that there was rumors, but I don't think they had an actual person. I think they were just theorizing, right? They didn't have any basis on that of Caroline having an affair.
Yeah, not. Well, they just heard it, but they didn't know who. Okay. So they were trying to track down a guy. Okay. They were trying to figure out like who it could be if she was having an affair. And so they were doing all this narrowing down that was like trying to figure out who she possibly could have had an affair with, because they were kind of a higher class, so they were kind of narrowing it down by like the people who she would have been in contact with. And then there was other things that were said that made them believe that like he was probably also married. Mm-hmm. And so that narrowed it down within the circle. And so they were kind of following that avenue. As that happens, we start to learn some more about the people. What are they?
The team.
The professionals. So we start learning. And one of the first things that we find out is the journalist, Mitchell Clark, was on site really quickly.
Yeah.
Like, the story hadn't even broke yet. The police were still there. And we find out that he was on site because they find out that he was actually taken to the station for questioning, even though he was never charged. And that's why nobody knew about it. Like, the public didn't know about it.
I forgot that part.
So that happened. He is freaking out because he was like, I don't remember why, because this was towards the beginning. I don't remember why he said that he was there initially.
I don't remember either, because he didn't have any connection to the family.
And then he said that he was like, I think he said that he saw the police, and so like he went to go check it out.
Oh, he was like a police chaser?
Yeah, but then I don't think he was. I think that he said that he was in the area and saw the police and then went to check it out, but then they started chasing him, or they started like coming up the driveway, and so he ran, which obviously made him look suspicious. And so they took him in, and he's freaking out because he is a black man and he's in a pretty like wealthy.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, it took me a second.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. Yes.
And so he's freaking out and he's like, no, don't know nothing.
Yeah, because they had I don't remember what they called it, but it was like the police were also just convicted or something of the Rodney King of the UK. Yeah. So they didn't want to have that rap. Like they were still fresh off of that. And so they end up, his story basically checks out as much as it can to them, and so they let him go. They don't end up charging him with anything, and so he just leaves and whatever. But all the experts find out about this, and they're kind of freaking out, like, oh, they're like, you were there, you didn't tell anybody?
Yeah.
And he's also on the team to find out, like, what was going on.
That he didn't say anything, knowing that they are now further investigating this murder, that he was there the night that it happened. Then, see, I'm never going to remember how these things first come up in the...
Yeah.
So just be prepared for that. I'm just going to say things that happen. It starts getting interesting because now they're a little bit more familiar with each other, questioning each other, things like that.
Yeah. They start pointing the fingers to each other.
A little bit, yeah. And so then from there, because this is a TV show and now they're airing a single episode at a time, we start to see all these like essentially Reddit forums and people posting their theories and stuff like that.
It was a really cute little insert for the...
It was really funny because it was very real life true crime people talking about what they think is happening and all the things.
They're like, oh, we didn't know about this, and what about that? And then people start saying things that they've heard from back then, and they kind of take that into consideration.
Yes, and with that, they start looking into Luke's past. As people start talking more about
Speculating.
him and speculating what had happened, and if it wasn't anybody in his life currently, who could have been maybe coming back from the past to murder him. And we end up finding out that he was from Australia. His parents died, and then he kind of was leading a nomadic life. He went
Somewhere else from Australia?
And then I feel like there was one place, and then he went to Beirut, and then to London.
I want to say Switzerland or somewhere around there. It starts with this.
I have no idea.
He was traveling.
A lot.
He was a nomad. He's early 20s. He's taking a rich gap year. Yeah.
I don't think he was rich at that time, though.
He was not like rich, but he did have some money because in the beginning they were talking about how Caroline was trying to get with him, or he was trying to get Caroline for her money, but then her friends were saying that's not true because he was coming into money, and if anything, he didn't care about the money. She wanted him to reach out to his family for an inheritance.
So that's where
he wasn't like money, but he had some money and could potentially have money.
I guess that's true. So he is traveling around, and yes, that is like now people are starting to look into his past, and they start interviewing outside of the family now. So outside of the people who were there that night, but trying to get a sense of who all these people were as people during that time. And so, some of the friends are starting to say that Luke was not that guy. He didn't care about money. And we find out that Luke has a grandma that apparently is really well off. Caroline had been trying to convince him to
Reach back out.
Yeah, reconnect with her, essentially too, because he would be her next of kin, the grandma's next of kin, and so he would be in line to get all that money. So there's another thing that we find out about their dynamic, and kind of switches back to, well, is this something that Caroline could have done? And they go back and forth on that a lot, and they
concluded that they ruled her out essentially.
Yeah, but it was over and over again that they
like who would she I don't want to say pay, but would she get a hitman? Like, why would they do it like that? Or why? I remember them speculating if she did they didn't say this, but hit on her husband, like why would she have her kids walk in on it?
Yes, and the grandma hadn't died yet, so if she had killed him, it would have gone to another family member instead of him anyways. It was quickly, like, it doesn't make any sense that she would have really had a motive at this point, at least. Maybe if the grandma had died, then maybe it would have a different story. I don't know. That all happens. Then we speak to another one. We don't, but they do. They speak to another one of their friends.
It's immersive.
We were doing the interviews. Speak to another friend that ends up telling us that all the kids actually hated Luke.
Yeah.
So the more we find out about all this, and she's like, no, they all hated him, and in fact, I think it was Mora, the older one, hated him the most, and was also at the time getting into a bit of trouble of her own. It was alluded to the fact that she was seeing somebody inappropriate. So we didn't know at that time whether that was just older or they deemed inappropriate because, like I said, they were kind of the higher class, so maybe they just thought it was inappropriate, or maybe just her behavior in general was inappropriate. I don't know.
Well, she's a teenage girl that's just pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then things kind of start looking at
the kids,
specifically the girls, and kind of their behavior at that time, all those things. Let me just ask you this while we're in it. During all this time, were you thinking it was somebody?
Who did I think at the time did it at this point?
At this point, yeah. Did you have any guesses, or you were just like, I have no earthly idea?
Honestly, I had no earthly idea. I was trying to get the character straight at this point. Because I knew the storylines for each of the characters, but I didn't know the names of each of the characters. So I had to get some information to know who they were. I did, at the time, think that it was going to be someone from his past. Because it didn't make any sense for it to be some random person that didn't get anything out of it.
Right.
And they had already rolled out the wife. And I didn't suspect the kids because they're kids.
Yeah.
And one's asleep, and then the other two are at a movie. And they found them. And they're both sticking to that alibi. Yeah, they're sisters, whatever. At this point, that's what the story is.
Yeah.
So at this point, in my head, I'm thinking it's somebody from his past that found him.
Okay.
Because he was set to inherit possibly something to do with inheritance. Like, if he doesn't get it, someone else would, or because he was a very nomadic, aloof kind of guy, and they made him out to be very charismatic and handsome. And maybe before he met Caroline, he was a little saucy guy, you know? Maybe he got in bed with someone's wife. So at this point, I'm thinking like it's someone from his past, for whatever reason, found him and then decided to do that.
Yeah. And we did find out, too, during that time that the whole possible inheritance from the grandmother, who they didn't have a lot of family.
It would have gone to an estranged cousin or something. He was immediate family.
Yeah.
Luke was immediate family.
And so then that came into question. Did the cousin and the aunt, I guess, or I don't know.
The cousin and I think his wife or his sister or something?
It was the cousin's mom, but I don't know how they related.
I don't know how they're related.
Long lost family.
Yeah.
It was going to get it. And they were trying to find out if they knew that they were due the inheritance if it wasn't for Luke.
Yeah, and if Luke was trying to get back into her good graces to inherit that. So that was my first thought. And then I'm like, well, they haven't really spoken much about it, but it could be something else that they haven't brought into yet. So I'm thinking it's someone in his past, because at this point I'm like, it doesn't make any sense for the family to kill him.
Yeah. I don't know. I was still thinking there was something there with Caroline.
Really?
Just
like
because,
as far as...
Like, obviously the motives that they were bringing up, it didn't make sense for her to kill him, but I thought that there was still some, like, lover's scorn something happened, because at the point in 2023, when they're doing this, she has Alzheimer's or dementia or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, of course she does. And I was like, the big revelation is going to be the kids find out that it was actually their mom all along that, like, killed it. And whatever.
Oh.
That's where I thought it was going to end up going. Even though all the roads were pointing to it, like, it doesn't make sense. I thought we were going to find out something else happened.
Oh.
And that's why she, like, killed.
I gotta say, there are a lot of red herrings in this.
It was
a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot of theories, and it makes me really think, like, is this, and I doubt it, but is this how police work is going down? Because they always say, can't leave any stones unturned. Like, man, there's a lot of fucking stones out there. A lot of them.
Speaking of more stones unturned,
It would really be helpful reading this book is like a whiteboard or like a pinboard.
with all the strings.
Or like, who are these people?
How do they relate to the story?
Yeah. And how are they related? Yeah, exactly. And then what would their their motive be on it? Because it was so many characters and so many red herrings and so many paths that branch out to like other things. They did a really good job telling it in the flow of things, but it was a lot of it for me.
They did come up with a couple of things that they wanted to investigate further because of the timeline. They didn't end up, when it happened, they did find hair
In the zipper
of his jacket.
brown hair.
In 2003, they just didn't have like the technology to be able to do it because it like didn't have the root, and it took a lot longer, things like that. And then they had the phone call, the one phone call that he got that they were like trying to figure out who it was.
Was this the phone call? Sorry to sidetrack. Is this the phone call that he took in the middle of dinner and stepped out and ended up leaving? And they thought that it was rude? That phone call? Because remember, he was at a... They interviewed some guy, some random guy.
It was one of his... No. So, okay, kind of. They interviewed somebody at the dinner that Rupert, the half-brother, was supposed to be at. And he said that Rupert had stepped out. And so they were thinking...
it was Rupert, not Luke?
Yeah, and so they thought possibly Rupert...
I messed up. I thought it was Luke the whole time.
Yeah. They thought Rupert was the one possibly calling him because he got that... Luke got that call from King's Cross Station, and so they thought that possibly Rupert was the one who made that call because he was like the child from the previous marriage, like completely, like because he wasn't even Caroline's.
Yeah, Caroline was his stepmom and his dad. Yeah, he has like no connection other than the siblings.
That's like his only blood in it, their half. So that phone call happens. They're trying to look further into the DNA testing and this phone call and stuff. And as they're looking further into Luke's past, there ends up being a photo somehow. Again, don't remember how this got brought up. But they realize that in one of the photos, he has a tattoo. And Luke did not have any tattoos.
Okay.
Did you know where I was going with this?
Yes. I knew, but I didn't want to say anything.
Okay. While there were plenty of kind of turns and them trying to figure out which road to go down, which were dead ends and which to follow, this was kind of the first biggest twist that happened.
Yeah.
We end up finding out that Luke is not actually Luke Ryder. He's an imposter.
Imposter Luke.
Fake Luke.
Fake Luke. Oh my gosh. That was a good, I liked that part in the storytelling, because I was like, of course. I didn't say of course, but I'm thinking like, of course, like another twist. Like there's so many things that happen in like it that's so intertwined between the family and like social status and all this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot going on, and then on top of all of that, he chose to be into all this.
You picked this?
Your fake identity is very complicated. So I was thinking your fake identity is very public, you know, because it's like you're choosing to be a different person for a reason.
Right.
And then
then it calls into question even more, like, did his past catch up with him?
Yeah.
And is that what got him killed? And we find out who...
At this point, I'm very solid in my theory that it's from someone from his...
Yeah.
I'm like, I knew it. Called it.
And then they find out who the real Luke is. He died
in an accident.
Yes, in the bombing in...
I was going to say an explosion, and then I was thinking, I think it was either an explosion for something, maybe a bombing. I thought it was a volcano.
What?
Am I thinking of something different?
I don't know, they were on the transit.
Oh, okay. It was an explosion.
Some kind of explosion. He died. So they're trying to look further back into him.
Into the real Luke?
The real Luke. And find out, kind of get this timeline of like where all these things happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so they find the guy. I cannot remember his name, so don't ask me. Sorry, guy.
Not guy.
Not guy, but the guy that he
Person.
stole the identity.
They didn't really touch much onto him. They kind of did a little bit of investigative work, but then they're like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, so the original Luke, and so they go back to his hometown, which is like in Alabama or something. like a couple of them or one of them goes there to go interview people.
Yeah.
And it gets kind of weird because they're describing, the fake Luke to the people who knew the real Luke.
Right.
And the
guy that went to Alabama is describing the fake Luke to
the people that knew the real.
The people that knew the real Luke, or the people that are the team?
No, the people that knew the real Luke.
Okay.
Because they think it was him. They think it was like, what? I don't even know.
About whenever the guy that went there and investigated them, and then he comes back with, I found out all this information. And
he's saying the interviews that he did with them. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
So I guess technically, yes, he's telling them all this and he's showing the interviews that he took with the people there that knew him. And they're basically describing him complete opposite of what they know Luke to be.
Yeah. Also, are you going to get to this part next? Was that fake Luke was also like mid-30s?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he was apparently
so he took all this shit and pretended to be like frat boy fake Luke for no reason.
Yeah. So that was another crazy thing. But then that was not it. Then we find out he's actually fake Luke.
Double fake?
Yeah, because the guy from Alabama went and moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
That guy got killed, and then
he went to Australia.
He took that identity, and then he went to Beirut, which is where the bombing happened, and then he took.
I keep thinking Australia. Something happens in Australia.
He's from Australia.
Okay. There's a lot of places.
The actual Luke.
So
double fake identity twist.
Damn.
He's a serial identity thief. This guy.
Well, he didn't know that.
Who didn't know that?
Fake Luke. He thought it was just fake Luke.
What are you talking about?
Australian fake Luke took Beirut's fake Luke that was originally from Alabama's fake. So original Luke is from Alabama.
Original Luke is from Australia. But they think it's this guy from Alabama who did the identity taking. I can't remember his name. The fake Luke's actual name. They think it's him, this guy, but they're like he's not the same person. But then they find out that guy went to New York and then at some point got killed, and that was where the first identity theft happened. Then
the identity theft of Luke?
No, of the first guy. And he's whoever, and then during the bombing, this guy who's now been two other people.
So that's his second identity.
Yeah, he takes his
that I did know.
Explosion and whatever.
I thought you were saying that there was this fake Luke, this Luke guy, the original Luke was from Alabama.
No.
And then he went to New York, died. New York guy took Alabama's identity, and now is fake Luke, goes to Beirut. He dies, and then the Australian guy.
The guy, fake Luke, doesn't become Luke until Beirut.
So Australian fake Luke, that fake Luke is his second identity. So he
traced it back to the guy from Alabama.
Got it.
But it was actually stolen there.
Okay.
So that wasn't even him either.
Okay. I was like, man, I totally missed it.
Did you all get all of that?
Double fake Luke.
Double fake Luke.
See, this is why you should really read it as an e-reader or a physical book, because I just feel like you can follow along a little bit better if you're
or take notes or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy. So they find out he's really not who he says he is. They're having a hard time even figuring out who this dude is.
Yeah.
And why anybody would want to kill him, because they can't even track down.
Yeah.
Who the heck
how would they
is.
find him?
Exactly.
Double identity.
And then they kind of go back to the inheritance thing, and did the Wilsons, who were the people who were going to inherit it, if Luke did they know that he was a fake? Because then that would have given them motive to do it. So that's another thing that kind of comes around.
I thought it was really weird, because then why not just out that he was fake and not kill him? Because wouldn't it be easier just to be like, that's not really him, this is the real?
Right, and that's what that's what they had kind of concluded, like, it would be a lot easier
to out him, then kill him.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I don't think you get inheritance.
And
if
then
you're
same thing
a
with
regular.
like Caroline, that connection too. That's what they were saying too. It would have been easier for people just to have outed him versus anybody murdering him. And so they're like, it has to be deeper than all of that. And about that time that all this is happening, we end up finding out that Mitchell was not the only one involved with this. Mitchell being the journalist that was on site.
Yes.
We end up finding out that there are deeper connections
For all
with
of them,
every single person.
which I thought was fantastic television. Just
Yeah. That would have been a great episode, is all I'm going to say. Because they were like, well, you.
they should really make this into a show.
They really should.
They
It'd be so
really-
good.
They really should. Like 8 episodes. Just follow the book.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they really could. It would be so good.
Yeah.
So they find out that, okay, I'm reading my notes here, people, because it's a lot to go over.
I'm trying to remember all of the 6 people.
So Alan is one of the detectives,
Yes.
and we find out that he is tied to Luke and possibly has a motive because,
Is it the sister thing?
yes,
Okay.
because Luke like swindled his sister out of a bunch of money,
Yes.
jewelry in New York.
Yes.
They find out that one of the fake Lukes,
Yeah, but it wasn't really him. It was the other Luke.
it was the New York
Yeah.
Luke before he was Luke, and ended up stealing a bunch of jewelry from her.
Yeah.
And so he essentially was like
He had
revenge
A
for his
tie-
sister.
a tie to the victim.
Yeah. Then we find out, man, we didn't even talk about a whole thing that happened
Which one?
with Layla, how she is connected.
We can talk about that now. This is pretty much where they all kind of start pointing the fingers to each
Yeah, I
other.
know, but we kind of knew beforehand. So Layla,
She's one of the 6.
she's a forensic
Yes.
psychologist.
And
We found out that
who died?
her
Her brother.
was a part of the hit and run, which is where they were trying to trace back the whoever this guy's like real identity was. We thought that because during the time of that guy's like disappearance in Alabama, there was a hit and run like right around the same time, and it killed this guy, and so they thought that it could be him because then he was like on the run, and that's why he needed the new identity. And come to find out, the guy who died from the accident was Layla's brother.
That's how she's tied into this. But come to find out that it happened to be some random guy, and he confessed on his deathbed and told Layla's father. And Layla's father was trying to get a hold of the police, but it was by then it was a
Like
old-
nobody cared,
Yeah, it was
basically, and that's why nobody else knew about it.
Yeah,
So that's how she was tied in.
he was ruled out as
Then we have Hugo,
the lawyer.
the lawyer.
He ended up starting with Miss Caroline.
So she was actually having an affair, we found out, and it was with Hugo, the lawyer, ran in the same circles, and that's how that happened.
Which I think is funny because I also think that he was her lawyer at some point. Didn't he represent her at some point? No, he's the one that spoke on her behalf. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
her former lover found out that. And then
This woman.
we already knew Mitchell, the journalist. We knew that he was there just like on the scene, but we ended up finding out also during all the finger pointing that he was also romantically involved with Maura, the older sister, which
That's why he was, because he dropped her back off.
no, we found out that they went to the movies and Maura like snuck out to go be with him at his apartment during the movie. So Amelie was going to like cover for her basically. And then he brought her back to the movies so that way the two sisters could walk home together because she didn't want her mom to know that she was seeing this dude.
Right. He went back because she butt dialed him on accident.
Yes.
So
So
he was worried.
And it was inappropriate because he was like 21 at the time.
He was 21, she was 15.
And he was black and she was white.
Okay.
Which I don't know if that was like making a big difference in this, but
they really put a lot that he was black.
And I don't know
that because I don't really see why.
I feel like the only reason
that makes it gross is the age.
I wasn't saying, no. I wasn't saying that. Like, it was definitely inappropriate because of that, but I think his reaction and why he didn't tell anybody was because he was like, oh, they're going to point. Because
they're going to use him as a scapegoat.
Yes. So.
Valid.
Yeah. So, that, yeah. So, it was inappropriate because she was underage, but he was like, I got to get the F out of here because of that.
Yeah. You were saying like the family would think they didn't like him because he was black.
No. Sorry,
I don't think it was that.
Anything like that. That's not what it is.
No.
But so then
21 and 15.
Yeah. He gets a butt dial from her, and so he goes back because he's like they're walking home, whatever. Doesn't know
he
what's
was
happening.
afraid for them.
Yeah. And so that's why we found out that he was actually on the property. So then everybody's freaking out because they're like, you could have said this whenever we first found out that you were on the property.
No. And then he starts saying, like, they're going to use me as a scapegoat and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And at this point, man, great television, because they're all, like, up in shambles about each other. They're like, you. No. I'm da-da-da-da-da. What about you?
Yeah.
And then which one was the one that had that they wanted a DNA test and they said that was on that because he had a tattoo. His DNA was on file. Do you remember that? To rule him out? Which guy was it?
He had his DNA sequence tattooed on him. So they got the photo of it because he got it tattooed on his body.
Okay.
And so makes
more sense.
They already
because in my mind I'm like, how do they do tattoos in the UK? Do they just take a blood sample? How do they have this? And they're like referencing he's like, it can't be that much of a secret. It's because you have it you have it tattooed on, you have a tattoo. Yeah. That's what I heard. And I didn't. Who would get their DNA sequence tattooed on?
I think that he had tattoo. Something, was he, I don't know. I don't remember. It made sense at the time to me, but now that I can't remember. But he had it, and so this was another thing that was kind of happening.
Great TV, because the producers were like, well, we already ran it.
Yes. So that's what I was about to get into, was the producer, I think his name was like Nathan or something like that.
Nathan sounds right.
Yeah. And so he, the whole time, actually knew, like every time that all these twists were like coming out and getting crazy, he actually already knew. Yeah. And he knew all these connections before all this actually came out. And so, yes, whenever the DNA thing got brought up, he was like, yeah, we already thought of that and we already ran it.
It's like, you ran it without my permission.
Yeah.
Without me even knowing. They're like, well, yeah, it's a tattoo. We just had to like screenshot a photo of you.
Basically, yeah. So that was crazy. Gosh. Everybody was getting pissed off at the producer for knowing all this stuff. And Guy was getting more and more frustrated, I think, because he was feeling out of control because he also didn't know all these things. So when all this stuff was coming out about Luke not being really Luke and about his sister's relationship, the affair, like all these things are coming out about his family. And he was like just as shocked.
Yeah, because whenever his sister's relationship, they're like, well, what I remember him saying, well, what would your mother have done if she had known about Mitchell and him and Moira? And he said, oh, I think she probably ground her and give her less of an allowance.
That would be the worst that would have happened. Yeah. And so, because they were trying to say, essentially, like, she maybe did it because
they were trying to point the finger to either Moira or Mitchell because they're saying that Luke found out about it.
About their relationship.
And they're trying to protect her. And then that's when I also kind of like that Guy was trying to like stick up for his family.
Yeah, because at one point too, they wanted like access because they found out that like while the girls were like getting in trouble in school and stuff that Caroline actually ended up putting them in therapy and stuff, and they were trying to get like their therapist records and stuff, and he was like, no. Like that's such an invasion of privacy, like all the things. And it was like, obviously she put him in therapy because like, it's traumatic as heck.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. And so, so that was all wild. They're all pointing the fingers. They're pointing the fingers at the girls, all the things. And then I guess what happens next is with Mora.
No, they're questioning the other sister. So one of the detectives, they bring forth that they're questioning, hang on, let me read my notes here. Okay, yeah, you're right. They're questioning Moira. Mara?
They weren't questioning her, but they were pointing a finger at her.
Oh, they were at some point questioning her because they were like drilling her.
Yeah,
and then
so they were not questioning her, but they were pointing the finger at her, and they were like getting all crazy, like with Guy and everything like that. And she comes in, and she's like, "You want to know what really happened?" And so like she comes in there all heated and whatever, and that was whenever he I think it was the lawyer starts like firing all these like questions.
Yeah, it was some guy.
Like literally how you picture a lawyer, like over and over and over again, just trying to like catch you in something. And I don't even remember how it comes out, but I don't remember what question he asked her.
Because he was saying it was you because you were getting caught. You got caught being in a relationship with Mitchell, and got what's his name? Luke found out, and you were trying to cover it up so you wouldn't get in trouble, and blah 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 blah. And she's like, no. And he's like, you did. You killed him, and you didn't make the phone call until 15 minutes later, so you could have had the chance to clean up, and you could have put all of your
to call 9.
She's the one that called 999. And he's like, you could have put your clothes in the washer. And she said, they looked everywhere. They didn't find anything. And they're like, he's like, well, you could have put your clothes in the washer. And she's like, I couldn't because the washer was already going. And he's like,
that's right.
That's why. He's like, oh, so you're saying that the washer was already going whenever this was happening.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh shit.
Yeah, because they had already said that Caroline didn't like doing laundry, and the cleaning lady had gone like way earlier in the day.
Yeah.
So it would have been like an 8-hour laundry cycle.
So then he was like, who started the washer? And she's like, I don't know, probably the cleaning lady. And he's like, no, because she was dismissed at like 8 o'clock.
It was like 2, so it was like an 8-hour difference.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yeah, there's no way.
There's no way. So then they're grilling her, and then somehow the other sister, they start talking to the other sister.
No, she just ends up telling them that it was Amelie.
She tells them?
Yeah.
She tells them that Amelie was the one that started the washer.
Yeah. So they're like, so Amelie is the one who killed him, and
which didn't make sense because it had like no reason other than they didn't like him.
Yeah, but they were maybe thinking that she was like, I don't know.
She ends up telling him, Moira ends up telling them that Amelie was there, and when Moira told Amelie that Luke was out there, Amelie didn't have much of a reaction, like she already knew about it. And so she was covering for her sister, thinking that she had done it. And then at some point, the two sisters start talking, like they talk.
No, that doesn't come till later. So it comes out that Amelie's the one who like did it, and she basically had told Amelie, like, we're just gonna say we were at the movies, because she like, Amelie did it, and so she's trying to like cover it all up, and so she comes up with their like complete story of they were gone and they came home and called the police and whatever. And so then after that, like, is basically like that's that episode is we find out that Amelie did it. And so then we're getting all these like newspaper articles and all these things that are happening, and Amelie gets arrested. She's in jail, and Mora goes to visit her, and she is recording the conversation because one of them wanted her to ask Amelie something.
I don't remember that part.
I don't remember what the question was.
I remember the conversation.
But it was something, I want to say it was like, why like she did it or something like that.
She didn't really have a motive to do it other than them saying originally in the beginning of the book that a third of the way into the book that none of the kids liked Luke.
Right. And so she basically asked her whatever this question was specifically, and Emily's kind of like, you're kidding, right? Like, you already know, whatever. And she's like, I don't know. And she ends up saying, like, I was just covering for you. And she was like, what? And she was like, you actually think I did it? And she's like, well, yeah, you were doing the laundry and you had no reaction whenever I told you that, like, he was dead. And you just, like, went along with the story immediately. She's like, no, I thought we both knew, like, who I was covering for. And alludes to the fact that it was actually Maura. That's what it was kind of seeming like the conversation. That's what they all thought.
Which one's Maura?
The older sister. Like, it made it seem like they both thought
it was each other
did it. And so they were both trying to cover for each other. And so that happens. And then there's a surprise last episode that comes out. And they end up having an interview with Ian Wilson, which is the cousin that was due to inherit the money from the grandma from actual Luke. And he's going to do a whole interview. So they start the episode out, with the interview.
Could you imagine watching this?
I could not. I would be on the edge of my seat the whole time. He's in some other country, whatever, and he's like, basically, they're like, why did you finally decide to come forward? Like, you have some information, whatever. Like, why now? And he was like, well, like everybody else, I've been watching the show. Like, I was trying to stay as far away from it as possible because I didn't want to end up with, like, there's a murder charge floating around there. I'm not going to get stuck with it, basically. Ends up revealing that he was the one who called from King's Station. And because he knew about the whole inheritance thing. And so
he wanted to confront him.
He wanted to come meet up with him. So we find out that Luke is like, yeah, like, we can meet in the garden tonight, which is why Luke did not go to the party with Caroline. And Ian says that he ends up going that night to confront him. Things did get a little heated, and evidently Luke slips and hits his head on
He slips down the stairs and hits his head at the bottom of the stairs into the family garden.
Yeah.
And he's there.
Yeah. He's passed out, like, still living at this point, and Ian's like, I gotta get the F out of here because now I've just had, like, essentially, like, a verbal altercation, and now this dude's hurt, and I'm out. So he says he's running, leaving, and he turns around, and it's, like, about to storm or whatever, and he ends up seeing who is standing over the body. And that is the final reveal that it's actually Guy, the 10-year-old boy.
The 10-year-old boy who is also the filmmaker for the whole true crime series.
Yeah. And
they're like...
It was crazy.
If you knew the whole time... Everyone just, like, in an uproar. They're like, if you knew the whole time, why didn't you tell anybody? You're the one that witnessed it. And he's like, no one would have believed me. Why would I go there and talk to him about
this inheritance
and then blame his death on a 10-year-old boy?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, yeah.
But he's able to tell them what the murder weapon was. So they end up being able to locate it, which it was
in the attic, I think.
Yeah, in the attic. It was
lacrosse.
I thought it was a cricket stick.
Okay.
Anyway, some kind of sporting equipment. I'm pretty sure cricket, but they find his
He did mention cricket at some point.
Yeah, because he was talking about, like, how he always wanted to play, but Luke wasn't good at it.
He wasn't good.
He wanted to play with him.
Yeah,
and that
you're
was
right.
one of the
It's
reasons
cricket.
he didn't like it. So they find his stick, and it was clear that, like, it had been cleaned and whatever, and, like, obviously old, but, like, cleaned. But because it's wood, it still had blood and whatever, like, in the grain of the wood. And so they are able to find out that it was him, and then come to find out, essentially, Guy had been suppressing a lot of crap from his childhood because he was the one who was there whenever his biological dad died. So that was traumatic. And he had been acting out, and there were several instances throughout this that he basically, like, had no knowledge of, but they kind of laughed it off.
He had gaps in memory, and Caroline was putting him in therapy
Yeah.
but he didn't know about all of it.
They obviously didn't know that he like murdered somebody or like did any serious damage or anything like that. They just knew like he had gone through some traumatic stuff. And whenever they would bring up memories from his childhood that he didn't remember, it was kind of just like, oh, like I don't remember throwing that tantrum. They had said at one point he like destroyed a wedding cake. And, oh, I think it was Luke and Caroline's. And so they were like, he was acting out, but he was like, I don't remember that. But he was a kid also, so easy to be like, you just don't remember, you know, whatever. Ends up being crazy. And then the last little bit, which we actually didn't even mention, that kind of towards the end throughout all this, we end up finding out that they think they knew who this guy actually was. They like tracked it all the way back to this guy named Jonah who had disappeared years before. I'm not really sure like why this was like exactly. I feel like it could have been like left out.
Yeah,
but
because I'll let you finish and then I'll.
But we find out that it was this guy Jonah, and they had like whenever he turned 18, he went like on a fishing barge or something like that, like for work. He was like doing that, and then he got lost, and so they were just like, oh, he's gone. But he was actually these 20,000 identities that ended up to be Luke that got killed years later. So imagine like running away from your life to like get murdered basically because you were that person instead of yourself. That sucks.
Well, yeah,
because Guy murdered him because he was the guy that married his mom, basically.
Yeah, that's true. But Guy didn't murder him because, well, yeah, I guess so. Layla was talking about why this has happened, like why a 10-year-old psyche could do that to a grown man. And she was saying something along the lines of how, I can't remember, so this, I could be wrong, that Guy was the one that found his biological father.
Yes. Or he either found him or was with him whenever he died, because I want to say it was like cardiac arrest or something, and so he was there, and that was traumatic. He was like 6 at the time.
He got triggered by seeing a father figure on the ground. Yes. And then he was angry at, Layla was saying that Guy was angry at his father because of suppressed grief for leaving him. So he was angry about that. And then to double that, he was also angry that Luke took the place of his father.
Yes, and like anything, because he's a kid, anything that triggers like anger can also do that. So they were talking about him seeing Luke laying there after he like slipped, being a trigger, but then also they had talked, which I had kind of touched on this, but how he was upset how like he never played cricket with him, and how he made him go to bed early, even though Caroline had said that he was allowed to finish his program, but Luke made him go to bed early. Yeah. So he was like mad at Luke, and so he's like already in that anger state, and then sees this trigger of like his stepdad basically like in the same deal as his dad, and so he goes into this like
blank rage, and then completely, what is it called? It has a blackout moment.
Yeah.
And which obviously he didn't know about, because if he did, why would he do this whole docuseries?
Right. Why would he be the one finding out answers if he had any clue that he was doing this?
Yeah.
But back to, we found out that this guy Jonah was the real original dude, and then so he had like mom, dad, and a sister. At the end of the book, because there was a lot of people that they talked to, and I think during the one times they think that somehow his sister was like interviewed by somebody, or they thought that she was a person of interest at some point. But then it got kind of brushed off. I don't remember.
I could not.
But then, at the very end, Guy ends up dead in his apartment.
Right.
And basically the only person that is seen is a nurse that came in.
The redheaded nurse.
The redheaded nurse, who they were, at first were like, oh, well, Caroline is being like cared for, and like she's living there or whatever. And essentially the staff confirmed that the nurse had her out of the house during that time, and they had nobody on their staff that meets the description.
Mystery.
It's believed by the end of the book that Jonah the actual guy, the fake Luke, his sister came back and murdered Guy for murdering him whenever he was 10 years old.
Could you imagine?
I could not, actually.
Sorry, but like, could you? First of all, the sister, wow, dedication, because she lost her brother. In her mind, she lost her brother when he was 18 years old, and then at this point, he's mid-30s, like 36. I think they said he was 36.
Yeah.
So he died at 36. So what's the difference between 36 and 18?
18 years.
Thank you. So 18 years from when he actually died, and then another 20 years on top of that, right? Because this is a 20-year anniversary.
Okay, yeah.
So 20 plus the 18, it's been 38 years. And she's like, you were the one.
Yeah. Which is wild, because they thought that he, like, had drowned or something whenever he was, like, on the boat. So to be, like, that...
To be that enraged over somebody that killed your brother...
Who you didn't even think was murdered.
I would be more mad at my brother for never contacting me again after he got a new identity.
Yeah, I feel like they did not touch enough on that situation.
Yeah. That was my thought.
It was crazy. That was the ride.
So
that was the journey
like,
that we went on.
Like, he wasn't even the original reason why you thought he died.
So I don't know how, I don't remember how, but I think that's what I'm saying. I think that she was, like, interviewed, or she found out somehow that he was still alive, and he was this guy.
Went to Alabama, and then during that whole time, she was one of the people that was questioned.
You might be right.
I think that's whenever.
So she gets brought back into the mix and ends up killing Guy, which is also crazy because, like, well, obviously that's horrible, but, like, he was 10 and didn't know what the heck he was doing. It's also kind of, it's just really, a grudge. It's
really sad.
The whole thing was insane.
It was
very twisty, but I feel like the twist flowed well. Like, I didn't think it, like...
Yeah, I don't think it was, like... I don't think the twists were forced. I think they came out naturally, and I think that it just happened to be because of the type of people that they were, and not because the story was being pushed in that direction. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so, too.
So it felt very natural with that.
As twist. Crazy as that sounds.
Yeah.
Because it was so much. It was following so much. And to anybody who's read this book or going to decide to read it, even though they just heard the entire plot, we did not talk about so much stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Like, there's for sure
These
stuff
were
we missed.
literally just the highlight points to get us there. And I was afraid to talk about them because there was, like... I knew I was going to say something that came later for that because it was a lot going on.
Yeah.
It was a lot going on.
Especially the fake Luke thing. Like, him being...
Double fake Luke?
Yeah.
Double fake Luke really was... I really liked that.
It was crazy.
Still identity once, but not twice. Right?
Yeah.
It
was crazy. It was a wild ride. Sorry if we forgot everything, but not everything. Sorry if we forgot some stuff.
Yes. Tell us if you've read the book, like, what was your favorite twist, or what did you think about halfway through the book? Like, what did you think that...
Where did you think
it was going? Who were your top suspects? And did it go the way you thought it was going to go? Because I for sure, like, Gabby for sure is this person, but I feel like Gabby and I really can find the plot twist very early in the books.
I do think that happens a lot with us.
We are very good at puzzles. We have very much... Yeah. Explaining things, not so much, even though we're doing a podcast on it. But we're working on it.
I feel like a lot of times we do talk about books, and we're a quarter of the way through, and we're like, here's what we think, and then boom, it happens. This one... I did not. I would not have guessed.
Yeah.
That's how it ended. That is for sure. There were a couple things along the way where I was like, yeah, I kind of saw that coming a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, it was also leading towards that.
But the big things that were happening, I did not see coming, and I definitely didn't see the end result
I didn't see the baby Luke, and I didn't see the sister from Big Big Luke coming. There was a lot of this that really went over my head, and that's on me because I decided to listen to it.
I think I would have caught more too.
And honestly, this book got onto my TBR because of a TikTok. Like, they're like talking about, I think it was some girl was like, read this book because you're really following the investigation and you're like trying to figure it out as they're trying to figure it out. It's like, that sounds great. I love that premise. And I don't think she mentioned or said anything, or I missed the part where it's written like a screenplay. It's literally.
I didn't see that either. But also I probably just totally skimmed over the synopsis of this book. But at the end of the synopsis, it was like, can you figure it out before they do? And so, obviously not, but it was good. Like, for the storyline.
Yes.
Good twists.
Really good twists. I liked the characters. I liked how everything was intertwined and came back in later. And it felt natural.
Yeah.
It felt natural reading it. I also liked that I didn't figure it out before the book ended.
Yeah.
I liked that.
I did too.
I did not like that it was written as a screenplay. I'm going to say that right now. I did not like that. I thought it was refreshing, but I was also very irritated. I'm like, I don't care about fade to screen black enter montage. I don't care. Give me answers.
Tell me who killed him.
Yeah. I don't care about these photos. But the photos are important, apparently. That's the tattoos. I mean, beggars can't be choosers. Whatever. So, yeah. It was very different style book. But would you recommend this book to others?
I would, I think. I definitely think I would recommend them to actually, like, physically read it.
Yes.
I don't have experience with that, but I can imagine that I would have enjoyed it more if I did. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think I would recommend it, especially because I was surprised by the ending, and that does not happen to me a lot. And so when that happens, I'm like, people should read this.
Yes. I would recommend this book. I would also recommend reading it physically as an audiobook. I prefer audiobooks and ebooks, and I like having physical books as trophies. This book I would definitely read on my Kindle because I would totally highlight and make notes as I go, because
it would be a great book to be annotating.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. And because there's so many things that you're just like, what? And listening to it, I'm a very visual person, and listening to it, it was very hard for me to follow along with the amount of branches and red herrings that there were. But yes, I would definitely recommend it to read it physically, whether that be physical book or an e-reader. I mean, I think this is a standalone book, but if there was a part 2 about the sister or something, I would, whatever part 2 that there could have been, continue it, because I liked the way that it was written, like the writing style of it. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be best as a standalone, and they should totally adopt this into like a show.
Adapt it
into a show.
Yeah. I think
a show, not a movie.
Yeah, because I really feel like it should be the 8 episodes.
It's literally
should be a docuseries, yeah, for sure. I enjoyed it. I think the format was cool. The part that I didn't like about it, honestly, is on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Overall rating. I had really been going back and forth between like 3 and a 4. I really want to give it a 4. I feel like I'm trying to give it a 3, but then I'm like, am I only doing that?
Better than a 3.
I do kind of feel like that too.
I feel like
what's making me want to give it a 3 again is my own fault.
I was going to give it a 3.5 because I didn't like listening to it.
I didn't like listening to it. I also, for me personally, I kind of rushed through it, and I would have liked to have taken my time a little bit more and actually physically read it.
This is definitely a take your time book.
Yeah. So I think with that being said, and knowing that, I think I'm going to give it a 4. Which is crazy. We finally...
We agreed on something. Rounded mine up because I listened to it and I didn't want to knock it down because of the way
And
that
that's why I feel like I'm doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna think it was crazy if you gave it a 3 and you didn't guess ending. I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I like I said, I really think it was just my own doing that is giving me any kind of bad taste because I do think it was good. So I think I'm gonna stick with 4. I'm just gonna lock it in.
Yeah, so 4-4.
Wild.
The last time we agreed was is it The Great Alone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
5.
Yeah. Well, obviously. How could we not?
I mean, I feel like that's the only time we ever agree is whenever it's a 5-star.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything lower than that, we're always like one off of each other.
For sure.
So yeah, that wraps up Murder in the Family. Read it if you haven't. And if you have, tell us what you thought, because that was a wild ride.
It was. And let us know if you've read this book. Did you listen to it? Did you like listening to it? Did you prefer reading it? What did you do if you read it? Did you make notes? There's a lot going on here.
Whole thing.
So we really enjoyed that one. Brainbuster. Anyway, next week.
We'll be back on Sunday for theme week. So this month's theme is scholarly secrets. We're very excited. So we put our busted brains together and picked a book with that theme. So the book for next Sunday is going to be In My Dreams I Hold a Knife. So I'm very excited. Another mystery.
I like mysteries for sure.
I do too. Whenever I don't guess the ending in like 10 pages. That sucks.
We'll see if we can do that in this one.
We'll see.
It would be really hard to compare.
I would say I'm going to keep an open mind, but I guess I need to keep a closed mind so I don't think of it.
Keep it closed. Anyway, subscribe for your weekly dose of barely holding it together.
Sundays, baby.
Exactly.